Hi guys, Chris here with Super Savvy Travelers. Hey, what is the craziest thing that you can think of that you might find in an abandoned house in Calabria? Well, we've seen some stuff, I'll tell you. Oh, before I do anything, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. We have a lot of great content coming up. And follow me on Instagram at Chris Sobolev. But let's go over a little list I've compiled. The 5 kind of weird things, crazy things actually, that we've found in abandoned houses in Italy, in Calabria specifically. And I'm going to start from the 5th one up because number 1 is a pretty big doozy. So anyway, the 5th one is the one time we were going through this ruin. It wasn't really a ruin, it was an abandoned house. It was probably abandoned in the 60s because all of the stuff was still there. The bed was still made. The dishes and everything were all still there. And there was an old 1960s telephone. And I went, oh, that's really cool. I'd really like to have that. Anyway, so our clients are going out. Antonelli, the architect, is taking them through to the other room, telling them you can do this, you can open that, look at these beams, blah, blah, blah. And my dog Gigi goes under the bed and starts rustling around under there. I'm like, what's going on? Way too much excitement under that bed. So I go, Pete, pull her out, pull her out. So Pete pulls her out and she comes out, happiest dog I have ever seen, with a big, fat, dead rat in her mouth. And I just freaked. I'm like, oh my God, what kind of illnesses are on that rat? How long's the rat been there? Oh, drop it, drop it. And she dropped it. We kicked it back under the bed. And luckily, she has been to Carmine, the vet, and had all her vaccinations and shots and things like that, because Carmine understands these things. Anyway, the rat was cleaned out with all the other stuff that was cleaned out when our clients actually did buy the place. But that was pretty wild times. Number 4 on our list is the dead cat house. Now, this was a house which was purchased by one of our clients and is now a gorgeous renovated property up in Santa Domenica. But as we were going through, the first time I went through with Antonella, and as we went through with our very brave client, he opened the door and the first thing he says is, be careful, you have to step over this dead cat to get into the property. So we did. It was unpleasant, but we did. And okay, we went through the property, we did all these things. She bought the property, they cleaned it out. That was not the only dead cat in there, there was several. Luckily, we didn't have to step over all of them, but it's a little something that she can tell her grandkids. Yes, children, when you visit our house in Italy, I'll show you where the dead cat was. This other one, you probably saw this video. Number 3 on up the list is the video of the time I was eating a fig. We were in Cerella. There was a beautiful house. It wasn't abandoned, but it was a beautiful house right by the sea. I mean, you walked right out on the beach, and it had a little garden, and they had a fig tree. And I was hungry, as I always am in the morning, and I made a beeline to this fig tree, and I'm just eating this fig, and it was the best fig in the world. I'm like, look, you guys, this fig is so, it's on video. Look, you guys, this fig is so delicious. I'm eating the fig, and right behind me, there's this big black snake that's like flipping out. And I didn't realize it at the time because I would have run screaming from the area, which would have been hilarious. And I did freak out later when I watched the video because one of our very sharp-eyed viewers went, hey, at 3.36, there's a snake there, did you know? And I'm like, no, it was horrifying, big thing. Anyway, I'm glad I didn't know, and I really enjoyed that fig, and it was a beautiful property. The other time was when we were going through one place where we were going to have clients that actually wanted to renovate. We're going through, and I started to just walk into this room, and guess what? The floor, there was no floor. There was no floor. And Antonello grabs me by the back of the hoodie. Don't go in there. I'm like, whoa, all the way down to the next level down below. So you do have to be careful going through these ruins. It's pretty hilarious, some of the things you find. There was another one we went through, and Antonello says, okay, listen, he always got a little spiel when he opens the door. In this house, we're going to step over a dead cat. In this one, you have to cling to the walls because if you walk in the middle, you're probably going to fall through. So, okay, fine. In California, you would never be able to do that. Anyway, so we're along the walls going this way around the corners and doing all this stuff to try to get to the next room where it was slightly more safe. And obviously that floor had to be replaced, and it has been. That house has also been renovated very beautifully. But we did have to watch Antonella very carefully and walk where he walked because it wasn't all that safe to be there. Now, there is a time I will give Antonella props for really laying down the law, because there was one where the roof was falling in and he says, I don't know how much more it's going to fall in, and I don't want you to be in there when it goes. And thank goodness we have a fantastic architect who knows where that line of safety and security is. Now, this last one is a doozy. I've never heard of anybody else running into this situation. It wasn't seen by me myself, but it was a first-hand account of Salvatore the Builder. He came down to my house to tell me that they had found a head in the wall that they were taking down in one of the houses in the historic center. A head. So obviously that's weird. And I said, well, Salvatore, this head, what? He said it was hundreds of years ago. I think it was put in the walls when the place was just built or whatever. It's kind of like a cask of Amontillado thing, you know, Edgar Allan Poe kind of stuff. Anyway, the head was in the wall, doing its part to keep the structure intact. So the head was in there. And I was going nuts. I was staying up late. I was going, I can't figure out why this head was there. What head? Why head? Why no body? What? So I had to formulate an explanation that made sense to me, and here's what it is. What I think happened is that there was a fair maiden, and the fair maiden was married to an abusive man, and she was having an affair with a lovely young man. The abusive man comes in and finds them and kills the lovely young man. And in order to escape detection, he had to act fast. So back in the day, before DNA, before fingerprints or anything like that, they could only tell, as far as I know, I wasn't an inspector back then, but they could only tell who you were by your head and your clothing and what's on your body, right? So I think he took off the guy's head and put it in the wall immediately. Then he dressed his body in different clothes and took it out on his donkey and dumped it into the hinterlands of Papasidro, where nobody would ever find it, and probably it would get eaten by bears or boars or animals or whatever the heck. And he was safe. He was safe. Spiritually, he was not safe, but physically, he thought he was safe. In any case, I think that's what happened. And I said, Salvatore, what are they doing with this head? I mean, in America, there'd be crime scene tape. It'd be a crime scene. They'd be crawling with inspectors and, you know, the American equivalent of the Carabinieri and all that stuff, and trying to figure out who and what and why and when and what happened. No, they called Don Miguel, and Don Miguel blessed the head, and now it's in the cemetery. So I'm happy to know that the owner of the head is now spiritually taken care of. And as far as I'm concerned, that is cold case closed for the head in the wall. So there you go, guys. Those are the craziest things we've found so far in abandoned houses in Calabria, but we certainly have not been through all the abandoned houses in Italy, and we will keep you updated on all the wild stuff we encounter. So stay tuned for more content, and we'll see you soon.